Okay, think about this. A patch of desert. And then, boom, in what feels like no time at all, there's this incredible skyline, a global hub just buzzing with energy. That's Dubai.
It really is astonishing. Quite unlike anything else, really. And today we're diving into some fascinating sources, articles mostly, that try to unpack how that happened.
Exactly. Because we want to get past just the glossy images.
Mhm.
Our mission here is to dig into the actual elements, the core decisions, maybe the sheer nerve it took to turn Dubai from, well, pretty quiet spot into this major world city, and so incredibly fast.
It's such a compelling story of deliberate, you could say audacious, development. And the sources we've looked at, they really stress that it didn't just start with the oil money, the roots go deeper.
Right. Before all the glitz, our sources remind us, Dubai was relatively small scale, a trading post, a fishing village, basically, there on the coast.
Precisely. But its location, that was always significant, it sat right at this natural crossroads for ancient trade routes, a logical place for goods moving between, say, India, Africa, and the rest of the Middle East.
Yeah, you can almost picture the dhows, the traditional boats coming and going, spices, textiles, pearls even. And the heart of all that early commerce was the Dubai Treek, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The creek is central in these early accounts. It was the lifeline, allowing the Dhows easy access, fostering this busy marketplace right on its banks. That was the engine of the early economy.
An engine that could be a bit temperamental, though. I mean, dependent on good pearl harvests, fishing, the ups and downs of sea trade.
Very much so. Economic fortunes could swing quite dramatically. It highlights, I think, why that later push for diversification was so vital. They knew they couldn't rely solely on those traditional sectors.
And that push, well, the sources all agree, it really got its major catalyst with the oil discovery in 1966. That feels like the real turning point.
Undeniably a game changer. Now, Dubai's oil reserves weren't, the biggest in the Gulf by any means,
Uh,
but the revenue it generated provided that absolutely critical initial capital. It was the fuel, literally, for what came next.
But money isn't everything, right? The sources really hammer home the importance of leadership, specifically the vision of Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum.
Yes, he looms large in all these analyses, a leader with extraordinary foresight. He seems to have understood very early on that oil was temporary,
Right.
that it was a means to an end, not the end itself, a tool to build something much bigger, much more sustainable.
Okay, so you've got the capital injection, you've got this leader with a long-term plan. What's the first big move? Seems like infrastructure was priority number one.
Exactly. That was the bedrock, building world-class infrastructure. Take the Tweak, for instance. So important early on. It was significantly expanded dredge to handle bigger ships.
And then the ports. Port Rashid first, and then the absolutely massive Jebel Ali port. That became one of the world's largest man-made harbors, didn't it? A huge logistics base.
Huge. The scale was intentional. Jebel Ali offered enormous capacity, making it super attractive for global shipping lines, and its location was perfect for re-exporting goods across the region. It really embodies Sheikh Rashid's philosophy, which the sources mention. What's good for business is good for Dubai.
Makes sense. And if you're moving goods globally, you need a top-tier airport. Dubai International, DXB. Its transformation into this major global hub is another huge piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely critical. It became this essential link between East and West, not just for cargo, but for, millions and millions of passengers. And we shouldn't forget the internal stuff too, the roads, highways, even that modern driverless metro system, all designed to keep the city moving efficiently.
So the physical skeleton is being built. But the really smart play, it seems, was actively deciding not to just rely on the oil money, even when it was flowing. That's the diversification strategy everyone talks about.
Precisely. The sources are clear. Getting away from oil dependency was fundamental. It wasn't an accident, it was a deliberate strategy. They pinpointed specific sectors they thought had real growth potential.
Trade and logistics seems like a natural fit, given their history as a trading post. And setting up the Jebel Ali Free Zone, JSEA, in '85, that seems like a masterstroke, according to the articles. What made it work so well?
JFZA offered this potent mix of incentives, things like zero taxes, allowing 100% foreign ownership, which was quite rare then, and cutting through red tape. It just made it incredibly easy and attractive for international businesses to set up shop there. It became a magnet.
Okay, so trade is humming. Then there's the side of Dubai that's maybe most visible globally, tourism and hospitality. The ambition there seems just vast, building these instantly recognizable global icons.
It does. The Burj Al Arab, the sail-shaped hotel, the Palm Jumeirah Island, and obviously the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. These weren't just buildings, they were global advertisements.
Right. Marketing tools in themselves.
Right. Exactly. Combine that with luxury resorts everywhere, huge shopping malls like Dubai Mall, theme parks, and things like the Dubai Shopping Festival. They built a whole tourism ecosystem.
And underpinning a lot of that,
Hmm.
you've got this massive real estate and construction boom.
Yeah.
Just fundamentally changing the landscape from desert to, well, a forest of skyscrapers.
The scale of it is hard to grasp sometimes. It created its own momentum, attracting more investment, more people, fueling that cycle of growth.
The sources also talk about finance. Setting up the Dubai International Financial Center, the DIFC. What was the goal there? Creating like a mini Wall Street.
Sort of. The idea behind DIFC was to create this specific zone with its own internationally recognized legal and regulatory system, separate from the main UAE system. This was designed to attract major global banks, investment funds, insurance companies, making Dubai a serious financial player in the region and beyond.
And you can't forget aviation itself becoming an industry, launching Emirates Airline in 1985. It grew incredibly quickly into this dominant global airline. How did that happen?
Well, it had strong government backing from the start, but also a relentless focus on high-quality service and very clever strategic planning of routes. Emirates basically connected Dubai to everywhere, which in turn boosted both tourism and trade massively. It was all interconnected.
So beyond the big projects and targeting specific industries, the sources also stress creating this generally business-friendly atmosphere. What did that involve?
Well, extending the free zone concept beyond just Jebel Ali was key. They created specialized zones, Dubai Internet City for tech, Media City, Healthcare City, Silicon Oasis, each tailored to attract businesses in those specific fields.
Like mini hubs.
Exactly. Plus, those broader pro-business policies like very low, often zero income tax for individuals, and efforts to make government bureaucracy smoother, more efficient, trying to make it easy to do business.
That tax situation alone must have been a huge draw for talent and companies.
Undoubtedly. A major factor in attracting international investment and making Dubai a place where people, especially expats, wanted to come and work. And then there was the very conscious effort to market Dubai internationally, promoting it as this modern, cosmopolitan, safe, welcoming place.
Which worked, clearly, resulting in this incredibly diverse expatriate population, which, as the sources note, really adds to the city's energy and dynamism.
That multicultural mix is definitely a huge part of Dubai's character and its success. You get this fusion of skills,